Most time when it comes to our religion and thing, I've watched a lot of ladies and women complain about some things about the religion. And I think it's because most of us don't even understand what we are practicing. We practice based on what somebody is telling us, probably one imam or one senior guy on social media or one group of people on platforms, and we use that as a kind of life pattern. And I think as a result of that, some of us fail to learn the deen. We fail to understand the customs of our religion, starting from the foundation to the solitaire and the journey itself. And I figured that this is actually creating a lot of impact, and this impact is creating a problem. Because if someone asked me when I was younger than this, that what is the religion teaches about a single lady that is trying to get married, what are the things she has to do, and what are the beliefs she needs to carry? And I think we usually hold on to the fact of, okay, based on the religion, these are the things I need to do. But we are forgetting to lay emphasis on the aspects of the mindset, the emotion, the act of doing and the act of being. We mix it together. Now, the act of being is that I want to be this person. I want to have this kind of, I want to have a husband that is educated, a husband that knows how to dress, a husband that is religiously, grounded and the likes of them. But what about the act of doing? The act of doing means you want somebody that is educated. Are you educated as well? I want somebody that is religiously grounded. Are you religiously grounded? The guys that knows how to dress. Do you know how to dress? The guys that can speak in the public, that can talk under the influence of his own thoughts and ideas. Are you also that type of woman? And I noticed that there are so many of these Muslim guys that when they want to marry, especially those that are not actually exposed, or those that don't really know what is going on out there, apart from their religious terms in their own house, they tend to see women that's religiously grounded. She knows how to dress. She knows what she wants in life. She's career driven. She's educated. They see her as a kind of something that needs to be contained. And because of that, most of these single ladies are actually falling into that concept, that idea, and is affecting our marital lifestyle at the end of the day. What am I saying in concept? What I'm saying is that there are some mistakes we single Muslim women make that eventually, when we now get married, it's going to create a long lasting effect. And some of these mistakes I've actually made them, and that's why I'm standing here because I've learned from them. And not just learn, I've been able to at least study the way things are going. I realize that if these things are not actually contained, they are going to be creating more and more effect on the marriage and the woman out there. And not because Muslim ladies don't actually want to have a better marriage, but because there are some things that they are not actually doing right. And this thing is controlling their affairs at the end of the day. And as a result of that, when there are mistakes and there are results, there are going to be long lasting effects that will eventually turn the marriage into either a bed of roses or a channel of flaming, fuming fire. What is the first thing that we single Muslim women make that is actually affecting is that we usually choose religion over love. We prefer religion over affection. There are some of the Muslim ladies that are married into a family, marrying a guy because they want to only uphold the religion ethics through him, not because they love the person. And I think this can also be in a two way because some of the guy, but I think the channel is majorly about good women, not actually guys. So that's why I'm going to be putting more focus on the women. There are some of us that probably because of the things we have read through the years, or because of what our parents have told us, or because what we believe a clergyman has actually said to be true, that whatever you are doing is meant to uphold the deen. Fine, that is true. But that does not mean you have to throw away your own happiness. You have to throw away your own emotions. That does not mean you have to throw away the things that gives you purpose, a sense of belonging and living in this world. Allah also told us that we should practice the day, but that does not mean He said we should now put everything in a manner that we don't even see any sign of happiness. We don't even see any sign of fulfillment. The world has gone past the time that you're only going to be living for somebody. You have to be able to live for yourself. That is when you're also going to say, yes, I have lived a life of reason, of purpose, of circumstance. We usually think that religion is the only thing we need in life. Religion is the only thing. But as a woman that have actually walked through the Bible, I have also read, learned, and seen most of the women that have walked through the Bible, I can tell that when you choose religion over affection, you should know that the religion is only the thing you're going to be getting. You're not going to be getting anything affection. When the results start telling, you shouldn't be complaining about anything because you choose that. You choose the guy because of his beard, because of the way he prays. Have you tried to check all other attributes of this guy apart from the religion? Have you tried to check all other things related to this guy in terms of his mental well being, his physical well being, his emotional well being, his spiritual is there fine, his financial well being? Now, this guy marries you after the journey of a year and two. You know that the way you have been feeling is poor, he does not even live in a good home. Do you understand? Just because you chose the religion, and after the space of 2, 3, 4, 5 years, said he wants to marry another guy, you are questioning him. My dear sister, you should be the one I should question because didn't you see him like that before you step into it? You married for religion, so if you should practice anything that's opposed the religion, you have to accept it without questioning. And some of us, when we even accept all these things, we eventually, when we look through our life, it is making no sense. Even when your family, when your parents see you, they will want to tell you because they will feel bad. But because they are only trying to respect your decision and opinion, some of us, when our mothers and our fathers see us after marriage, they feel bad because they will be like, when you were in the home, you were not like this. But because they are only trying to respect your decision and choice, they won't have any other option than to keep quiet. And eventually, when they see that you are actually derailing to a path whereby they are not even just happy, but they are feeling concerned, they will eventually begin to call you into order. And that's when the problem will start coming up. You that you have always accepted your husband to go on, they call it jala road for like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks and months, you now start questioning your husband that he has been away. What else do you expect from him? It will be away because that is what you marry. So you have to settle your mind with that. You shouldn't question that decision later on. But my dear sister, I can tell that that will eventually start affecting. I think choosing religion over love and emotion is very bad. You should be able to at least have the two. My dear sister, there is nothing wrong with you having the good things of life. Honestly, when you go out there, you see a woman that is educated, you see a woman that is a Muslim and she's thriving, you see marriage. Haven't you noticed these coaches and mentors out there? They might be having some each in their home that they are not telling us about, but from what we are seeing, we can tell that they are educated, they are religiously grounded, they have a family, and what they are preaching to us is something that has actually happened within their past that we believe to a various minimum or to a particular level that they are having a good life. So why can't you have that life too? Why don't you want that life? Religion is not just everything we are looking for is in the religion. In fact, religion teaches us love, affection, compassion. It teaches us tranquility. You should have a purpose in that marriage, that relationship. And I think the second thing we Muslim women, single Muslim women, are actually taking that is affecting us is we usually choose deep history over a kind of self goals. That is, what I mean there is that there are some of we women out there. We usually think that the way some of the older women have lived their life, we don't really want to have a kind of purpose for ourselves. For example, now, when you ask most of the Muslim ladies out in Africa, you ask them which work are they doing. I can tell you that more than 50% of them will tell you they are a teacher. When you now ask them, can you do something else? They'll be like, it's not good for a woman to be speaking in public. It's not good for a woman to be dressing like this in public. It's not good for a woman to be talking with female in the public. They will start coming up with different notions. But I think all these concepts, in terms of the olden lifestyle of people, they were living like that because that was the way life was, not the way life is. Look at your home very well. If you're using a plasma television, for some of us, you're using some gadgets. Those gadgets, they don't exist in the world before. So because they don't exist, why are you using them now? Because you want to advance. Find the things that's advanced. The kind of work you can do has changed. The kind of lifestyle you can have has changed, unlike the past years. Though we are inculcating and learning from the habits of those that live before, but that does not mean we have to restrict our lifestyle based on the deep history, the way people have lived their life. We can also have reflection of that lifestyle in the world we are living now. So some of us is as if we are living in flashback. And for some men that eventually wants to marry a woman that knows what she's doing, a woman that have a purpose in life, they will not be like probably and they are not seeing suitable guys or these guys are not staying. Or when I got married to started talking that I should be like this, or he sees the potential of the I'm not exhibiting that trait of myself. Living dim history and not having a life goals, I think is a total hell no. I have some friends when I was in school then that they will be like, they want to be like some of our women in the olden days, but I'll now be like, okay, fine. Do you want to be like this woman? I'm not this person. But what kind of goal exactly do you want for yourself? You're dressing, putting on. I'm not against that. You're covering, you're doing it. I understand you're trying to uphold it thing. But you yourself, what kind of life goal or purpose do you have for yourself? You're not living for this woman. You're only inculcating the habit which will be rewarded inshallah. But that does not mean you should not have a kind of purpose for yourself. And when you now get married to your husband, it will not be as if you're not bringing anything in addition to this relationship. And I think the third thing is that we usually, or most single Muslim women out there, they usually prefer dua over trying, which means that some ladies, I understand some of us are religiously grounded, but I mentioned something about the act of being and doing. Now, you want to be this type of person. I want to be a woman counselor. I want to be a woman life coach. I want to have some digital business. I want to create ebook. That is the act of being. I want to be this person. But it's also something called the act of doing. Act of doing mean, which means I want to be a woman life coach. Okay, where do I need to start from? Okay, I need to go through some. Probably I don't have the money for the paid training. I'll have to go through some free trainings. Then get to learn some content. Open a YouTube channel. Open an Instagram channel. Start creating content so I can start getting people to my community. Then turn it into a paid community. Then do this and do that. That is the act of doing. When you talk about dua is the act of being. You're only trying to tell God that this is what you want. You want to be this kind of person. You want to have this kind of life. Now you need to try. Try means all the things you said you want to become, you need to put it into motion. Something needs to be running so that what you are hoping for, what you are wishing for, will make that your effort and eventually turn into the reality. Some of us will say we want a guy that is this, that is that. You hardly leave the house, you don't attend events, you don't even explore places, you don't socialize, you don't communicate, you don't reach out, you don't even dress in a manner that what you're looking for will attract you. So, what are we now saying? It is not just about praying, it is not just about wishing and hoping. Just like I mentioned in my previous video, too, it is not just about accepting that there is God, it's about you internalizing and acting as if God truly exists. It is not just about you praying and hoping and wishing, it is about you living in what you are praying towards. You have a life of your own. You have something to do. You have other things you want to explore and do. So you should be able to match your doer and try. Just like somebody that was telling me that there is no job out there. Fine, you're looking for a job, right? You're looking for it online. My dear sister, you need to go offline. And when you go offline, you don't just walk to the entrance and turn back. You enter the building. You go in there. You ask for someone you can see. And you keep trying different places for as much as you can until you get your desired outcome. I think I shared in some of my videos about how I was able to get this job and this place I'm working presently. When I'm looking for a job, I don't just go to the entrance and they tell me to submit CV and that is the end. No. I would ask them, is there someone I can talk with? Is there someone I can chat with? Then when I go in there, I have to enter. Because when I enter, I'm sending some signal. When these people see me, I'm sure what they will say when I'm not there will be different from what they will say when I'm there. And when they see me and talk with them, it doesn't end there. I get a contact so that when I'm going, or after a few days when you don't call me, I call back. Then if I've been able to put all this effort in place and it doesn't work, then I will know I've actually tried. Then I'm waiting for the universe to decide. I'm waiting for God to decide. You don't just press the one. Your husband is not emotionally connected. You think you just have to pray over it. You have to talk to him. You have to communicate. Your husband is not helping financially, then you are helping him from your own pocket. Praying one day he will realize. He will not. Because when you don't talk, there is no way he would know. Your husband is not, or your husband to be, is not exhibiting some traits and career you want him to have, and you are praying over it. You're wasting your time. You need to communicate, you need to say something, you need to do it, you need to try. When you have tried multiple times and it is not working, then we can say, fine, this is going out of my hands and I should what? Leave it as it is or let it go, or I can find a better place for myself. So you don't just trust your husband. And I think one of the mistakes we single Muslim women make is that most of the single ladies out there, they always choose less than actually choosing more. That is, they always settle with having the little things at hand rather than choosing what is better for them. What I mean there is that when it comes to this our religion, sometimes some people, especially in African homes, it's very common. They will come and tell you that you shouldn't be too choosy, you shouldn't be too picky because men are scarce, and when you are doing all this, you are chasing him away. You shouldn't be, choosing more than all these things. You have to give yourself a barest minimum. But I can tell you that that thing is called limited belief. You can have every good thing the world has to offer. I swear to God. And when I realized this concept, I think I'm living a better life than I used. Not just I think, I know deep down that I'm living a better life than I used to be. Because you're looking for husband, because you're looking for guy, that does not mean you have to belittle yourself in such a way that you will be engrossed by limiting belief. You should elevate your norms and standards. I'm not saying you should go into the moon to look for norms and standards. I mean, you should give yourself a kind of threshold that if a man is not up to this point, then he's a no-no. Not just because you are looking for a man, not just because you want somebody to come and look your way. You are not limiting and reducing yourself. You're supposed to dress all right. You're supposed to chase your career, chase your dream because you're looking for a man. You think you'll be thinking it's too much for him. If it is too much for him to handle, then it shows he's not the one for you. You should choose somebody else. Of course, that is his my dear. If he's telling you that because you're a career woman, mm, you're not going to be submissive. It depends on what he defines as being submissive. Submissive does not mean I am going to lay on the floor while you walk on me. No, that is not submissive. Submissive is we understanding and agreeing on terms that has to do with our development in both ways. Then I am going to bend when there are things that probably needs to be addressed by you. And you are also going to bend when there are things that are needed to be addressed by me. So I think that is just it. You shouldn't choose less. You shouldn't have this limiting beliefs over elevating beliefs. You should choose well. A man that is well educated, you can have it. A man that has a goal in life, you can have it. In fact, there are so many of us that, especially we single mothers, when they come to you and say that because you are too picky, you are too choosy, you are this, you are that. I know what I want for my life, and I'm willing to stand on that fact for as long as it takes. And I also know women that have walked in my shoulder are also having the man of their dream now, and they are living a purposeful life. So me choosing this does not mean because I understand what it means. Not just that I'm choosing it out of the blue. I understand the concept and I know the reason why I want this thing. So because I know the reason why it does not make me so inferior that I can't have it. No, of course I can have it. So choosing less over more, I think is one of the problems we single Muslim women journey. And I think the other thing is compromising fashion for modesty. When I started my ready to wear brand that feel them, which inshallah because I'm also going to be picking it up in few, I think let's say in a year or two, inshallah, because I'm working towards it already. As a Muslim, you shouldn't compromise fashion for modesty. Fashion and modesty can go hand in hand. And Alhamdulillah, I love that notion. I love that talk. And that has turned to my brand thing. Because as Muslims, I realize that we Muslims we usually compromise fashion for modesty. In fact, I think things are changing in the world of today, but there are still some people living in that. Some people that they will feel that as Muslims they're not supposed to dress nicely, they're not supposed to say they're not supposed to apply makeup. Of course, you can apply all these things, but there is something called minimalist and in a way that does not actually give you a sense of you're doing too much. You shouldn't do something less. You shouldn't not you shouldn't overdo and you shouldn't do something too small. You should be in the middle. Though I'm not a fan of actually applying makeup, but I think there are some days that when I feel like I want to do something, I want to like on that. There is this my friend. Most times on Friday when you look at her, you'll be like, wow, Alhamdulillah, she's so beautiful because she puts on nice clothing, she applies makeup in quantity that even you will be like, oh, this is just so beautiful. And I love that so much. But that does not mean that she is going to dress shabby on normal days. Some of we Muslims we just dress anyhow. We just put on clothes anyhow. We don't even care about our looks. Some ladies they will have so many pimples, they don't even apply any skincare routine. They don't know about pen, they don't know about roll on, they don't know about putting colors. They just want to put on even if you want to put on a single color coat, but that does not mean you don't have to touch it sometimes. You have to switch things up. It is not just about modesty. Modesty does not change you to be looking so dirty. Some of us don't even make our hair because we cover it. In fact, there is this channel I brought up sometime, that is Mina Organics, teaching people how to grow lengthy hairs, take care of yourself and the likes of them, all the skin and the likes. Most times I don't even use cosmetics out there. I mix some oil, some natural herbs and oils and the likes of them to eliminate a lot of things. Some moment, there was even a time I told some of these Muslims that there's this cure I found for ulcer that is putting your unripe cocoa in plastic for like 5 to 6 days and consuming the water. If you see the way they were bullying me that it has turned to alcohol, it has turned to this, that's fermented, it has this. We would have different notions about all these things. I added nothing but just water, let it ferment. And if I can tell you that this unripe cocoa water that I took has actually been the facilitator of me fasting till today. It gave me total cure to my ulcer without having stress. I know the amount of drugs I brought, and there are still some women out there that are still battling with this thing. Sometimes our notions about all these things is just so wrong. There's nothing wrong with you dressing, looking good for yourself, and having a kind of beauty you radiate. You know, there's this satisfaction in we Muslims when we are looking so beautiful and good. It even supports the religion to a norms that people will look at you and they'll be like, wow, I love her. How did you know that there's people that actually accepted this religion out of the way you dress and look? And I think the next thing is that we usually choose isolating over socialization. Some of them, especially when we have a boyfriend or we get married. But I think it's more related to single ladies. So let me not digress. We want something, we want a life, and you are isolating yourself. You feel you're not supposed to attend parties, you're supposed to attend events, you're supposed to communicate, you restrict yourself on social media, you restrict yourself on this, on that. You try to limit the number of people you chat with, this one, that one, and the likes of them. My sister, you are kidding yourself. In fact, you are missing a lot because those things actually affected me, and I can tell for free. And now that I know better, I wouldn't advise anybody, either single or married, to isolate themselves, socialize. You have to meet people, you have to connect and communicate, you have to expand your reach beyond your limits. There are so many opportunities out there, not until you put yourself in there. You need to step into the spotlight so you can become somebody that people are looking for. Some of us have a wonderful goal, dream, career, ambition, but because we can't even step outside of our comfort zone, that thing is not coming into reality. When you go out there, that guy you're looking for that has mashallah, the beard gang, this one, that one, that is when you can see them. But when you don't live where you are, you won't be able to see any of them, and that life you're looking for will not come to pass. Religion and deen is about serving your creation to live a happy and purposeful life. It is not about sabotaging. It is not about you restricting yourself from leveraging the opportunities out there. It is about you creating a purposeful life for yourself. When you think because you're a Muslim, you don't have anything to win that to offer, I think you're making a very big mistake. It is not about sabotaging you. It's about you living your life to the best. And it is about you creating that path that people can walk on. If Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam did not create the path we are walking on, there is nothing we can make a reference to. And God has actually designed every single thing that happened during their own lifetime for the time they existed. And now we are living in a modernized world. A lot of things has changed. But we are still bringing the ideas and concepts, not because we are trying to sideline it, because we are bringing it in and also putting our current lifestyle together so everything can be in the right proportion to maintain a balance. Normally, there is nothing like this during the time of the prophet. So why are we on YouTube? Why are we on social media? But because God has actually helped women to evolve in a situation whereby the knowledge of before and the knowledge we're having today can help people to create a purposeful lifestyle for themselves. And I think as single ladies, Muslim ladies, you have a lot of decisions to make before you get married at all. Because by the time you get married and get settled with a man, most of your life, your decision will be questioned. But when you don't have a solid foundation from where you're coming from, then there will be nothing to build on when you get married. When you bring something solid inside the marriage, your husband will respect that and always address you based on that notion. But when you don't have any solid foundation or religious or ethics, when you're coming, your husband will not have anything to respect you for or to make you grounded on. So for you to be in a very good place, you need to be in a very bad place first so you can understand the reason why you want to be in a better place. Until I see you in my next one. Bye.